right, we are here at the State House for a on-the-road version of CrossTalk 6th Plymouth District. We're also going to do 7th Plymouth District as well. We're taking the whole day up on the hill, courtesy of State Representative Josh Cutler. Sure.
Thank you. Welcome to room 167 here. Welcome to the State House, everyone.
Welcome. This is not new. I mean, we've been up here a couple of times to visit. It's been a couple of years since we were up here. And
it's good to get you out of the studio. That's good.
Well, you requested it 2 years ago. You're like, we need to change things up. So we're going to change things up. But prior to taking a little bit of a tour, I know you want to kind of bounce around. You want to introduce some of your staff.
Yeah.
Let folks see some of the ongoings of your office. Any updates or any news prior to us going mobile?
Well, again, thank you for coming up. Thanks to the viewers for tuning in, and it's nice to be able to get out of the studio and come up here to the State House where folks can see, what we're doing on a first-hand basis. Lots going on. This is, I know July may seem like a slower time of the year, but actually it's a pretty busy time of the year for us because we're kind of moving towards an August deadline. So I guess the big news is that we have a state budget. Yay. With the House and the Senate.
What took so long?
So there were some sticky points about some policy decisions. It wasn't so much the numbers, it was some policy riders on the what we call outside sections of the budget, having to do with drug pricing and controls for drug pricing and how best to try to find ways to control the cost of drug pricing. And I think, obviously there's broad consensus that we need to do something to try to rein in those prices, but there were some differences of opinion about how best to accomplish that. And so that was really, I think, one of the main sticking points. But the good news is the budget's done. We have a balanced budget, a good budget for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It's been shipped off to the governor's desk, so he'll be reviewing it, is reviewing it now, and we'll see what happens from there. But a lot of good stuff locally as well for Whitman-Hanson, South Shore for my district, for the 6th Plymouth District.
Pembroke-Duxbury.
Pembroke-Duxbury and Hanson, yep. Able to get some local amendments in to help with some, bring back additional local aid, help with some local projects. For instance, in Hanson, we got some funding added for helping Camp Kiwanee, also for Hanson Police and Fire for some mobile communications gear. In Pembroke, got some funding for the Children's Library to buy new computers for the Children's Department, some funding for the Council on Aging. So in each of the communities I represent, we've tried to find ways we can get a little bit of extra money here and there to help reduce the burden on local property taxpayers and to help get things done for our cities and towns. So I was pleased with the budget, some good stuff in there, fiscally responsible budget I feel, and glad to be able to be part of that process as a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, and onward and upward.
Is it worth asking in regards to monies per pupil? I know that's something that you and I have talked about a number of times. How does it look for fiscal 2020, and also as far as unfunded mandates such as transportation when it comes to schools?
Sure. Yeah, so some good news on that, and there's sort of parallel tracks going on, Kevin, because we have on the one hand our fiscal year budget, which we have to have a balanced budget every year, and we did see some increases in some of those line items. Regional school transportation did well. We did get a little bit of a bump from the governor's budget for the per pupil. We did able to restore the non-resident vocational transportation funding. I know there's some long words here. But at the same time we're working on this year's budget, we're also working on sort of a broader education funding reform package. I'm sure you've heard about it. We've talked about it in the past. I'm sure our viewers have probably at least heard a little bit about that. And that is something that we expect very soon. I know the Education Committee, Joint Education Committee, is working on this. We've submitted our own, shared our own priorities about this, one of which is per pupil funding. And they're going to be releasing their bill, I expect, pretty soon. And so we're having sort of this broader conversation about education funding. At the same time, we're passing this year's budget, which I think made some really important steps forward in terms of additional funding for education for Chapter 70, which is the main way we fund our cities and towns. In fact, this year's budget has record levels of Chapter 70 local aid. So some important progress in this year's budget, but a broader discussion about how we're moving forward and how we can fix and update the foundation budget formula to better and more accurately reflect the costs of things like health care expense, special education expense, teaching kids who may need a little extra, like whether they're special needs or English language learners, whatever the case may be. So that's something that's going to probably occupy us for, I suspect, the rest of this particular term.
So as I was walking in here with Ryan and Kate, you made mention about something that's exciting when it comes to local television, a bill that's on the forefront. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so actually just breaking news, can we put that breaking news siren up? No, as I was driving in, I actually heard from one of your colleagues in cable access about a new bill that was just filed by our colleague, Representative Paul McMurtry, having to do with trying to find revenue streams for cable access, because we know people are changing their viewing habits, and the traditional model of cable television is giving way in some cases to streaming services and other kinds of viewing options, and we don't want to lose local access, which provides a needed transparency for our government, but also does things like this, like you guys are all doing.
Like this right here.
Yes, wonderful. And so losing the funding from cable could really harm that, and so we want to try to find other ways to keep that going. And so some legislation was just filed, I believe, yesterday, and we just signed on as a co-sponsor that would help to provide a revenue stream through those streaming services. So actually just had a quick conversation before we went on camera here with the chairman about the bill, and he kind of gave me a rundown and so forth. So I think it's something that we'll be working on, very soon.
There'll be more details, so to speak.
More details to come.
More details to come.
Yes.
So, all right. So
maybe we can even try to get later in the show get some more, because we're that fast.
Are we really?
Yes.
Okay. So what we'll do? Anything else you want to talk about while you and I are sitting here?
Well, there's lots to talk about, Kevin. I think what would be fun to do would be to. I know you came up here for the day to also talk to Representative Sullivan. Maybe if we could get a little bit of a day in the life so viewers could kind of see what it's like up here at the State House, get a sort of a peer into what a typical day is like. We have
maybe
a lot
a few
going
honest
on
moments
today.
from your staff, like what's it like to work with
Yes, and I
Representative?
I do want to do that, though. I want, I have a great staff. My legislative aide, Cole Angley, and
Cole
also
is fantastic.
Gigi
Cole
Meraki.
was a big part in this, as was
Yes.
Allison Sullivan's office as well.
Yeah.
So
We have great staff, and also Gigi Meraki, and then we have some good interns here, one of whom a Whitman Hanson student, Mara, who's leaving us today. She's going to be going off to college and been interning for us for over a year. So I thought it'd be nice if we could kind of bring them on camera for a little bit and kind of show you around a little bit here at Room 167 and the State House in general.
all right, so
Sound like a
stay
plan?
tuned. Sounds like a plan. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to CrossTalk with Kevin Tachi. Sitting in for Kevin Tachi today is Representative Josh Cutler. I'm very pleased to have a guest with me, Megan Driscoll Greenstein from the town of Duxbury. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you.
Megan, you've been doing some great work, and I'm proud to support, and I hope you can maybe tell our studio audience about it, on gender pay equity. And we have a bill that we filed and that we're working together on, and maybe you could kind of fill us in on what's going on and what we're doing.
Yeah, great. So I'm really excited. I appreciate your support, of course, always. We have filed a bill, as you know, that would further the existing pay equity law that currently is in place in Massachusetts and take it just one little step further by taking the existing law, which states that you can no longer ask an employee what they're currently earning, to the next level, which would be allowing employees and prospective employees, so whether you're applying for a job or in a seat, to be able to ask the employer for the pay range of the role that they're either sitting in or applying for, which just sort of advances some transparency and gives employees some opportunity to advocate for themselves within that pay range. It also, from the company's perspective, allows companies to better manage the issue that was created by the pay equity law, which is that they're getting salary expectations kind of all over the map, and this would allow them to better hone that in.
And you run, or used to run, a large pharmacological recruiting company, so you know what you're talking about.
Yep. So we work with hundreds of companies nationwide, a lot of companies in Massachusetts who are dealing with this law in implementing it, and we deal with employees as well as candidates. So we place thousands and thousands of candidates over the years. So we understand the law and how it affects both the employer and the employee. And
this seems to be, it's been in the news for a while, but because of the U.S. women's soccer team, it's kind of gotten a renewed interest. Is that
and I understand that this is shown in Hanson.
Right, and we're very proud of our own,
Samantha Mewis
from Hanson.
Exactly, whom I've met. My daughter actually did a training with her last year. So Samantha Mewis, this goes out to you. if you're interested in participating in this bill, we'd love to have you. Yeah, I mean, I think the pay equity law that we are pushing forward in Massachusetts would be sort of first in country, right? Like the first state to sort of push this a little bit further. It certainly is in line with what the women's soccer team have been talking about and are suing for. This is an opportunity for us to legislatively attack it.
Isn't it right that the reason they're able to do this is because they know what the salaries are, and that's the information we're trying to give to folks.
Correct. One of the reasons why they even have a claim at all is because they are very clearly underpaid, because that information is given transparently. That is not the case in private corporations, and this law would adjust that.
And you're here today at the State House visiting me, because we always appreciate your visit, but also to talk to some business groups about the law and kind of, hopefully advocate for their support, but let folks know what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
How'd
this
that
is
go?
great. I think this is an employer-friendly legislative move, right? This is not a penalizing employers. This is actually going to be good for employers, and obviously be good for employees too. I think the bottom line is men don't want to earn more than women for the same job. And this just allows for that to be a little bit more transparent and allows us to take that step a little bit further.
Great. So it's an act relative to gender pay equity.
Yes.
And stay tuned, learn more about it. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back with more Crosstalk.
Okay, so we're back.
That was my line, Kevin.
what's that?
No, that was my line. So
We're
we're back.
back.
We're
Oh,
here.
we're back,
We're
right?
back. We're back. We're back here in front of the House chamber. And in a moment, I'm going to have to run in and go vote. Today, we're taping up a bill, actually Speaker DeLeo filed, called GreenWorks, which has to do with climate change and climate preparedness and adaptation. And basically what it would do is provide a funding source for communities to apply to bring projects on a competitive basis to address climate change. And this would be another funding source for communities to tap into to try to address their local climate change needs. And so we're voting on
like seawalls and rising
potentially
seas, stuff
seawalls.
like that?
Yeah, absolutely. If there was, we have a program called MassWorks currently, which is for infrastructure, and this is sort of like coastal. And I'm sorry, not just coastal, but green climate infrastructure. So think that way.
Okay.
It's called GreenWorks, and it was actually just approved by my committee, which is the Telecommunications and Energy Committee, and it's coming to the full House today for a vote. So we're having debate, floor amendments, the whole 9 yards, and then assuming that passes, and I do believe it will today, I'm going to be supporting it, it will go over to the Senate, and they'll have a similar process, and eventually to the governor. And so I think this is something we'll see some fruit on later this term. So it's called GreenWorks. I'm going to go vote for it. And while I do, I'm going to introduce my sort of the brains behind the operation here.
Did you hear that? We got it on the record.
Yes, that's on tape.
My Chief Legislative Aide, Cole Angley, who's been with me for almost pushing 3 years now.
Correct.
And hopefully he's going to say nice things about me while I go in and vote. So introduce Cole. Great job. I'll be back, and I'll be in control of the mic then, right?
Well, we'll pretend to let you be
All
in
right,
control,
we'll be
but
back.
make sure you shut this off so we don't hear conversation
That's true.
there.
Yes. All right. Thanks, folks. I'll be back.
So he's
All right,
going to walk
take it
away, and we have Cole. I have to say first, as the representative walks away, that Cole was fantastic and instrumental the past couple of times that we were brought here to kind of do this on site. Fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Always happy to help, Kevin. Always happy to help.
What is it like to be, and it's interesting that you've got a different office than the last time we were here, but it's like the hub, so to speak, as far as with so many different reps, and I think you get senators in there too, right?
Just representatives in there, but there's a few different committees in there that work elder affairs as well as public safety. But it's great. It's a lot of folks in there, but you learn a lot of different things from different coworkers. They're all working on different issues, and their bosses are working on their own pieces of legislation, and that makes things fun and interesting as you hear new issues, and they represent different parts of Massachusetts. So it's a great learning opportunity for everyone involved, and you build new connections, which are very important. So.
What's usually your prime focus? Does it shift from day to day, and it depends on what is going to be happening behind us here, or things that he may be working on with committees or in district?
Yeah, absolutely. Our day-to-day can be really hectic. You even saw today we were jumping from meeting to meeting. I'm covering him some places, he's covering me other places. Generally speaking, I'm working on his legislation on a day-to-day basis. But when there's times like this going on, we're prepping the materials for session, making sure he's seeing all the language that he's going to be voting on, the amendments that he's going to be voting on. It's important to have all the information at his disposal so he can go and make an informed vote. But on another day, we might be working on an issue completely opposite of that. We work on issues from A to Z, everything under the sun that we touch. So our day-to-day operation can be really different from day to day. Tomorrow we'll be in Charlestown meeting with businesses about our workability committee, which I know you guys heard about a little bit downstairs. So.
If I could ask you, knowing that in fact, we're getting towards the end of the first part of the session, is there going to be a little bit of downtime where you'll have informal sessions that'll go on until September?
Yes, there will be informal sessions in August, and then they'll be reconvened in September. So.
Do you look forward to that? Do you look forward, knowing that you've worked with him, do you look forward for those times to recharge your batteries and be able to come back and really be able to tackle the workload and the different initiatives and directives that the representative's working on?
Sure. I mean, as much as it is downtime here and where things aren't as much formally happening here, it's time to work on issues that maybe we couldn't work on during the formal session because we were too busy, where we can sit down and work through legislation that we weren't able to, get to during the busy session. So it seems like downtime maybe on the outside looking in, but in all reality, it's where a lot of the legwork actually gets to happen because we have that time to work on those issues. And the constituent issues, they're always a priority for us, and it's something we're always working on. So.
How valuable has this experience been for you working with someone like a Rep Cutler, who, he's somebody who he's climbed the ladder, especially, and he's got the different chairman, vice chairmanships. How valuable has it been of an experience for you, a young guy like you who is climbing yourself, and you're very, very valuable in your role and position? I mean,
it's been a fantastic learning opportunity for me individually. Certainly, I came in here right after college and started working for Rep Cutler, and just the things that he's taught me to be, professional, to work in the legislature, to learn, adapt, and grow. It's been fantastic for me, and it's been honestly the opportunity of my lifetime thus far. I'm not looking to go anywhere anytime soon, so looking to learn more and just work with him and be helpful to him in achieving his goals and working together on achieving those. So.
Well, we at Whitman Heights Community Access, and I'm sure maybe other access centers who also view this, you are a valuable asset, and we thank you for your assistance anytime that we may call up and want to tap into the representative or find out what's going on. You are fantastic, and thank you for your continued hard work.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
So one of the things that really helps us to be efficient here at the State House, we have a great team of interns. And we love to have interns. We have high school, college, graduate students. And I want to introduce you to a couple of interns that are working in our office now who are doing a fantastic job. And sadly, one of them is leaving today, our final day. So first off, Mara Burt, who's just graduated from Whitman Hanson High School and has been interning for us for over a year. Mara, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Mara. I just graduated from Whitman Hanson. I'll be attending Marymount University in the fall.
Marymount?
Yeah. It's in Arlington, Virginia. I'll be studying political science.
I think you want to look over this way. That's all right. This is why I'm mentoring you. This is what we're doing.
Exactly.
Yes.
For when I run for public office.
For public office, right.
Exactly. I'll be studying political science. Yeah, and I hope to get internships down there. I've been working lately here at the State House on stuff like the forms for identifying as a disabled person and whatnot.
Yeah, no, and let me put in a plug for Mara, because you've done such a great job, and it's been over a year, and I'm going to be sad, because I feel like, we really enjoyed having you here, both working down in the district and now up at the State House, and you've done a fantastic job, and I know you're going to do really good stuff in college, and I'm going to be upset when you are working in D.C. and we lose you here in Massachusetts.
Hey, vote for me when I run for Congress.
So I will definitely vote for you. You got my vote. Mara, great job.
Thank you.
Truly. And so to your left is Marissa, who is a graduate student.
I am.
And tell us about yourself, Marissa.
So hi, my name's Marissa. I'm from Pembroke originally. I am one class short of a master's degree in political science at Suffolk University. And I've been here at the State House for a few months now.
Yeah.
As part of an internship class. for my master's.
And you're working on something special that we're working on?
Yeah,
Tell us
I'm
about
doing
that.
a lot of the work. I'm doing a lot of work on the workability, I can talk, subcommittee.
And I don't think the viewers I've really filled them in on that yet, so maybe you could kind of give a
Sure,
quick summary of what we're doing.
You, as you know, but you are the...
I'm the Kevin Taccia role right now.
Listen,
So.
I'm doing my best, okay?
Yes.
You are the vice chair of the Committee on Children, Families, and Persons with Disabilities. Yes. You are also the head of the new subcommittee on workability, which is sort of like that transitional period of getting people out of education and into work. The ADA does have sort of like a recommendation of 7 to 12% employment of disabled people, and we're trying to work on getting that number to where it needs to be and doing a lot of work on that.
That's great. That was a great summary. So great job on that, number one. Number two, and thanks for all of your work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank
We're
you.
glad to have you here, and thankful that you'll be here after today.
I will be,
When sadly
yes.
Mara will be moving on. So, but no, I just wanted a chance for the folks to hear. They hear from me all the time, and they're probably sick of hearing from me. But we have a great team here behind me that supports me and allows me to do the good work. And it's because of you guys and Cole and Gigi and all the other interns, Bryce and other folks that we've had. And frankly, over the years, we've had so many great interns. And I think back to some of my first year in office, and some of those kids, they're not kids, they're now off in the world doing things, and it's really cool to see young people come in and be interested in government and public service, and then go off and do good things, whatever that may be. So I know both of you will do that, and I want to thank you for working here. And sorry to put you on the spot like this, but I thought it'd be a little fun.
It was fun. Good practice.
Good practice.
Thank
All
you for
right,
mentoring.
we'll take a break here, and we'll be right back. We have an unexpected and delightful guest, great colleague, great friend. We just bumped into in the hallway, Representative Paul McMurtry, chairman of the Tourism, Arts, and Cultural Development Committee. And just so happens, actually, just today, that he has filed some great legislation having to do with cable access and expanding the ability of our local community access groups to thrive and present all the great programming that they do. And so I thought, hey, this is perfect timing. We're here with our local cable access, doing a show up at the State House. We have Chairman McMurtry here. Hey, do you mind just kind of sharing a little bit? And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day.
My pleasure.
We appreciate it. And I wonder if you could just tell us briefly about the bill that you just filed.
Sure. We filed legislation that supports local access television, like the fine folks here in your office. And first of all, I want to commend you on being engaged with local access TV and inviting them here to the State House. So this legislation, with the constantly evolving streaming services and these global mega entertainment companies, and the way the consumers are receiving this entertainment and it's being delivered, this legislation calls for a very nominal 5% fee on those services, then to go back into local funding, local access.
As I understand, it would actually go back to local towns as well, so the communities would benefit as well as the community
That's
access
right.
stations.
So if for budgets, and look, we know, exactly what we see here before us, that there's a need and a benefit. There's an industry, an entertainment industry out there, whether that's in the news, sports, in television. But this is the starting ground for and the Farm League for some long-term industry opportunities for people.
Yeah, and we see people's changing viewership habits. People aren't watching cable TV as much as they used to, and so losing that fee really endangers our community access. And your bill would help to remedy that in a way that's not going to cost the ratepayers anything. It's really the companies that are making the money.
That's
that
right.
Will,
It'll
correct?
certainly help offset that. Yep, there's been some declining revenues that support the local access television studios, so this will certainly help offset
And so
that.
we need to get support for your bill and tell our other colleagues to support it and get the word out. How can we help?
Your timing is right. Well, by means like this, your local television, and for people that are outside of your district to share with our colleagues in the House, I want to take a moment to thank you for signing on to it.
Oh, yeah.
I know
Glad to
you
be a
realize the
co-sponsor.
importance, and so I'm happy to have you as a co-sponsor. And we filed the legislation just today, so the timing is right, and we'll continue to build in support of our colleagues.
Great. Well, we want to thank so much Representative Chairman Paul McMurtry for taking the time to talk to us on the spot today as he did, and also for filing this great bill. So thank you, sir.
Keep up the good work.
Pleasure.
Okay, so that kind of wraps it, our day on the Hill here. Thank you so much for the tour. I will say originally we're going to kind of do a in the office type of thing, and the representative was like, no, let's get out and about.
Yes.
And I
Much more
think
fun.
it was
And this was much more fun, wasn't it? Don't you say?
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. No, it really was. And you're a fantastic host. Your staff is
Top notch.
top notch. Cole and all the rest.
And we
of them.
didn't get to meet Gigi because she's out at some meetings today, but Gigi does a fantastic job for us
Gigi
as well.
was very instrumental as well. When I was talking to Cole, Gigi would do a follow-up and check in and be like, okay, this is what's going on. You're going to talk with the representative about that. And we had a chance to, again, bebop around, speak with you. We even did a CrossTalk 7th Plymouth district chat. So
Yes.
we really,
Well, I hope that you and the viewers get a chance to see a little bit of a sense of what the role is like up here at the State House. We saw different policy things that we're working on, talking about cable access, talking about wage transparency, talking about other various issues, Greenworks. And that's sort of a typical day, that every day is atypical, because every day is something a little bit different. And that's what, frankly, why I really love the job and what makes it so interesting and so much fun to do.
And you'd be sad that the next time I call you, it's going to be to do something
Yeah,
in
I
studio.
can never do in studio again. I'm sorry, we can never do that again.
We have spoiled him. We
You've
have.
spoiled me. We'll have to come here. I think the viewers I think our ratings are going to go up, because I think this episode is going to get higher,
You'll get more
viewership.
views on YouTube.
So I think, I think you're locked in, man.
Okay. We'll either come back up here, or maybe we travel around the district. Maybe we try to
That's
do
true.
some stuff around the
We
district.
could do that. It is that would
Maybe
be
like
smart.
a coffee hour with the representative
Anytime.
and Q&A.
And if I could be serious to our viewers, we love to have folks come up and be visitors, come to the State House, whether you're coming for a tour, you have an issue you want to talk about, or need help with something. This is your house. This is the people's house, and I hope you will feel like you're always welcome here.
Thank you so much, Representative.
My pleasure.
And until next time, you've been watching CrossTalk, the 6th Plymouth District with State Rep Josh Cutler.